Another conservative group has endorsed Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell's Kentucky GOP primary challenger. A Political article notes Freedomworks praises Matt Bevin as the more fiscally sound choice. Freedomworks also criticizes Senator McConnell for, quote, helping the Democrats fund the president's health care law during the fall. McConnell's campaign quickly blasted Freedomworks, saying internal problems, unfortunately, have changed their focus from conservative reform to conservative cannibalism. Joining me live now, NBC News Deputy Political Editor Domenico Montanaro. So, Domenico, the writing was on the wall that this battle was coming, but, you know, that McConnell swings hard with the conservative cannibalism speaks to the infighting.
There is no question about it. You know, Mitch McConnell, like Harry Reid on the other side with Democrats, is a tough fighter. He is not going to let anyone kind of come in and try to take his job without going down. He's not going to go down without a fight. Let's put it that way. And everyone expects him to get through this primary. And what's really interesting here, it's May 20th, that primary. It's going to give us an early indicator of where this Tea Party versus establishment storyline is heading. We're going to get another example of that March 4th in Texas when John Cornyn goes up against Steve Stockman, the conservative representative running against him there, and both are expected to win. Mm-hmm. So if that happens, you know, how this storyline starts to change as Republicans try to take back the Senate should be interesting to see.
Absolutely. And just regarding that battle for the Senate being up for grabs, I mean, what kind of allies does Mitch McConnell have at this point? Who are his strongest allies?
Well, he has a lot of the Kentucky establishment behind him. He's been there a long time. He has a ton of money in the bank. He's got all of the D.C. establishment that he could want, and he's decided to wage this war. I mean, if you go bigger here, this is a really important race because of this rift that we've seen. And McConnell's basically had enough. He's had enough of being dictated to by the Jim DeMints of the world. He's had enough of being dictated to by the Ted Cruzes of the world. He sets the agenda in Washington for Republicans, and he wants to make sure that the Tea Party understands that. And
I get that, but that could also be said about Democrats who've had enough of Tea Party establishment and some of the other groups that you've named there as well, but that has not kept some of their messages from being drowned out by those very groups. So when I ask what allies McConnell has, we certainly know he has the establishment, but in some cases, as we've seen with Speaker Boehner, having the establishment behind you has not always worked. It's lately with Boehner, but not always.
Not always, you know, and there are going to be a handful of other races to watch, at least 6 in other states from Mississippi to Georgia, Tennessee, Kansas, and we're going to see if this has any kind of strength, if the Tea Party has the kind of strength it had in 2010. There are signs that that strength is actually ebbing. We'll see if they actually are able to prove that they can keep up the pace a little bit in some of these other places as well.
All right, Domenico, thank you so much. And still ahead, Seattle Seahawks cornerback Richard Sherman has already apologized for that highly criticized post-game rant. Well, now he's hitting back at some critics that he believes have crossed the line with calling him a thug.
The only reason it bothers me is because it seems like it's the accepted way of calling somebody the N-word nowadays. You know, it's like everybody else said the N-word, and then they say thug, and they're like, oh, that's fine. And